Okay, we're going to talk about preferred duty period versus prefer pairing length. When you use prefer pairing length, it's actually touching a calendar day. So if I choose prefer pairing length 1, I'm looking for something that does not touch more than one calendar day. If I'm looking for prefer pairing length 2 or 3, I'm looking for something that's touching 2 or 3 calendar days. If I'm looking at duty periods, it's a little more complicated. A duty period is from sign in to release. So I may sign in the morning at 7 a.m. for a turn, and I may be done at 8 p.m. for a turn. So that's one duty period and also a 1 day pairing length. However, I may be signing in for a sequence that is a Vegas turn that signs in at 6 p.m. If I do that, I'll be returning the next morning. So this is actually touching 2 calendar days, but I'm only putting on my uniform once, signing in once, and releasing once. So that's one duty period. So it's a 2-day trip, but only one duty period. So you have to think about how these work together. So here's an example. In this example, I'm looking for domestic and NIPD trips. And I'm also looking for a 3-day trip, pairing length 3 days. There are different types of 3-day trips. We could have 3-day trips where you're working all 3 days, or you can have 3-day trips where you have a nice long layover in the middle and are only working 2 duty periods on either end. So let's try that one first. If you see here, just by adding 3-day trips, they're all in here. I've got 4,098, but if I add in the duty period, 2-day duty period, this would be the case where I'm looking for having kind of a long layover in between. I'm only working 2 days of that 3-day trip. So we can look at the pairing results, and it does make sense here. I'm flying on the 19th. I have a nice long layover, and I'm coming back on the 21st. You can look at the details, and you'll usually see there's a long layover here, something like this. So that's one example. Another would be that I'm looking to do the exact opposite, that I really want to have higher time 3-day trips. So I want to fly 3 days. I want to fly 3 separate duty periods there, and I want to make sure that this 3-day is worth at least 18 hours. So in other words, for each of those 3 duty periods, I want it to be 6 hours as the average. So these are all going to be, if I look in here, they're all going to be at least 18 hours. So we've got 1812 going 2137. So if I'm looking for my high time 3 days, this is the way to do it. Right? So that's a good way to describe the relationship between pairing length and duty periods.